Hey, everyone. Happy Sunday. We're studentloanjustice.org. We are the oldest, largest, and really only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. If you're new to the group, welcome. We're glad you found us. We've got like over 1 million people in our group at this point, at least on paper. But that's pretty meaningless, guys. I just have to say, unless everybody's out there helping us fight, we could have a gajillion people on the group and it's meaningless. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking for volunteers. We need some very serious people who have been around the block a few times, been beat up by these loans, lived their majority of their adult lives under the pointy end of the stick. People who are strong and courageous and bold and not afraid to speak out. If that's you, we need you. And that's my big announcement for the night, by the way. We're asking everybody who wants to help to fill out a survey. And I'm going to post the link to the survey in the comments below this live stream on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Have a look, if you would please. If you think you've got what it takes, we're looking for a few good men and women. Guys, this problem will not be solved unless we, the people, step up and fight. It's just true. You know, the other groups in this space, they're making money off of student loan borrowers. They're preying upon them. They use their groups as hunting grounds so they can railroad desperate, vulnerable people into loan consolidation, into loan rehabilitation, sign up with debt coaches and student loan lawyers. These people are fucking snakes. They're not trying to solve the student loan problem, guys. They're pimping this problem. They're making way too much money to want this problem to go away. We on this group don't do that. And this is the only group of significant size I'm aware of that isn't making money in weird, shadowy ways in the background. And we're the only group probably who are browbeating their members to get off their asses and help us fight. You know, the other groups, they're very happy for you to sit down. They'll even give you some popcorn and they'll dance around and act like they're fighting. And they'll probably even try their hardest to make you think that you're helping them fight when all you're really doing is hanging out on a Facebook group or a YouTube page and you're being entertained by these charlatans. That's not us. You got to get off your ass and help us. This group right here is a working, fighting group. And if you're not willing to do a little bit of work and fight a little bit, then you can just get the fuck out of here. Pardon my French, but we don't need wallflowers here. That's bad. It's bad for the movement. It's bad karma. We need fighters on this group. So yeah, guys. And so, you know, we are the nucleus of this fight. We started the concept of canceling student loans by executive order we launched that whole concept into the zeitgeist. Very sexy concept, by the way. The president can do it without congressional approval, without needing one dime from the Treasury, without adding one penny to the national debt. Don't believe all the nonsense that you see in the media from our opponents. And I'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. I know there's been a lot of news about that, and I'm happy to talk about it a little bit. We need fighters on this group, guys. And the loan cancellation thing started out with us. It was a great idea. And then it got Washington, D.C.ized by people like Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer. And the Republicans went to one side and the Democrats went to the other side. They ruined it. They ruined the whole thing. So this lame, feckless nonsense that we see from Biden, I personally do not care which way the Supreme Court case goes. No matter which way it goes, the whole thing was fake, feckless, and in my view, just a trick, just another of many tricks that we've seen over our 18-year history to try and keep this loan scam going. And it is a scam, make no mistake. It's an unconstitutional scam. And we do not have to put up with this bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care how much noise is thrown against us. I don't care how many opportunists are trying to get rich off of this problem and not solve it. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is the truth. And the truth is these loans are done. The lending system is finished. But for the bad politics and the corruption and the bad media and all these stupid things that are aligned against us, these loans would have been canceled years or decades ago. And the most important policy point I'll say for you tonight, and particularly if you're new to the group, please listen to the next sentence carefully. We will not see meaningful loan cancellation. We won't see meaningful anything unless and until we get the constitutionally enshrined right, aka leverage, of bankruptcy returned. I know you don't want to file for bankruptcy. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy, least of all me. But the founding fathers knew that bankruptcy was so important, they called for it in the Constitution ahead of every right listed in the Bill of Rights, ahead of the freedom of speech and religion and the right to bear arms and equal protection under the law, ahead of the abolition of slavery and indentured servitude. The founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy laws, aka rights. And that is what has been stripped from us, uniquely from student loan borrowers only. So nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. Very few people will have to file for bankruptcy when we get the right return, unless and until we get the leverage of bankruptcy returned. We're not going to see anything good happen for us. That's the dirty little secret. I'm hoping that everybody within the sound of my voice is finally starting to understand. We can be begging Joe Biden or the next president forever to cancel loans, to run these nonsense income-driven repayment programs in a way where most of the people actually make it through, rather than the vast majority of people getting kicked out of these programs. But guys, it all comes down to bankruptcy. So it just does. And that's what we're fighting for primarily. I mean, obviously, the loans must be canceled at this point. I would say entirely, but certainly probably 85% of everyone was never going to be able to repay their loans, even before the pandemic. So honestly, I think it's time to just cancel these loans entirely. And when we get the right of bankruptcy back, that may very well happen. Because think about it, guys. Think about it if you're like President Biden. Okay, there's 38 million people underwater on their federal student loans. That was true before the pandemic. So that's going to go up whenever they turn these loan payments back on. 38 million people losing sleep over their student loans. When we get the leverage of bankruptcy return, in other words, when student loans are treated the same as all other loans in bankruptcy court, many of those people, if they don't have any better options, will be strongly compelled to file. So we could easily see 10, 15, 20 million people file for bankruptcy. And when they do file for bankruptcy, they're going to take other debts into that bankruptcy with them. Because, I mean, if you're going to file, you may as well bring in your car loan and your credit cards, whatever else. Wall Street absolutely does not want that to happen. In an average typical year, ladies and gentlemen, fewer than 1 million people file for bankruptcy for any reason at all. So can you imagine if 5 million, 10 million people with student loans were to file for bankruptcy in the space of a few years? It would overwhelm the bankruptcy courts to the point of seizure. It would greatly impact other loan markets, which Wall Street does not want. So no president is going to let that happen on his watch. No president wants to preside over the largest wave of bankruptcy filings by far in our nation's history. No president wants that. So when we get the leverage of bankruptcy returned, the president has to cancel loans broadly, widely, deeply. Not this $10,000 bullshit. $20,000. There's nothing to help the worst hurt borrowers. They're going to have to do some very deep loan cancellation. And quite frankly, if I was the Department of Education or Joe Biden, I'd be like, you know what, guys, this one is done. There is no baby. It's all bathwater. Just throw it out, clear the decks. Let us begin again from a blank sheet of paper and get it right this time. That's what is absolutely necessary. That's what has to happen for student loans. Lending systems fail from time to time, ladies and gentlemen. They just do. That's been true since the days of ancient Greece. And I could give many, many examples. Subprime home mortgages, the S&L crisis, Europe in post-World War II, Europe post-World War I, and that wasn't just lending systems that failed. That was entire monetary systems. So guys, it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, but this is a very, a lot is riding on this, let me just say. This is tyranny in its most ugly form. This is the administrative state conquering and enslaving the citizens. And those are John Adams' words, by the way. John Adams famously said there are two ways to conquer and enslave a nation. One is by the sword. The other is by debt. And that is the barrel that we are looking down right now, ladies and gentlemen. So you better help us fight, because nobody else is going to fight this battle for you. These are your loans. This is your problem. And you can't unhear that. You just can't. And if you think that somebody else is going to pull your weight for you, well, we've been around for 18 years, guys, and I can tell you that never happens. It will never happen. And you don't want to be the guy sitting here 5, 10 years from now saying, wow, if I would have just gotten off my stupid, lazy ass 5 years ago, this problem, my life wouldn't be ruined today. So a stitch in time saves 9 or something like that. Anyways, I'm looking for your comments now. I'm going to keep this live stream rather short, but I am definitely going to post the link to that survey. And by the way, we're looking for state chapter leaders. We're looking for people with special skills, special, I don't know, people who are super good on TikTok or other platforms, Instagram, etc. Because this is just way too much work for me, certainly. And our state chapters are getting pretty big now. Like our Illinois state chapter, I was looking earlier, has 300 people in it. Our California chapters, I think it's around 500 members at this point, not significantly more. Ditto for our Texas chapter. So our groups are getting pretty big, and we need some capable, fearless, courageous, hopefully wise, but we can teach you what you don't know, leaders to step in and lead their states in a fearless and courageous way. This is a fearless, courageous group, by the way. And to all the diehards out there who've been fighting this battle, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I think they will tell you, people like Vanjie, Ann Cooper, and other people who I see on the live stream tonight, they will tell you it feels really good to fight this fight. The Constitution is on our side. The Founding Fathers are on our side. And if they can do to other loans what they've done to student loans, they will. This is the camel's nose under the tent. They will make other loans, credit cards, medical debt, you name it, all consumer debt they will make not similarly non-dischargeable in bankruptcy, like they did to student loans. And that's exactly what John Adams was warning us about. So Vanjie Unruh says, not one more cent. Good for you, Vanjie. In my humble opinion, nobody should ever pay another dime back into this loan scam. It's not only unwise at this point, in my view, it's unpatriotic. Before the pandemic, 60% of everyone nearly had stopped paying on their loans. Most people were not paying on their student loans before the pandemic. Today, almost nobody's paying. And whenever they try and turn these loans back on, I'm sorry, but I suspect that not even 15 or 20% of the people are going to pay, hopefully less. So if you ever do pay another dollar on your federal student loans, number one, in my humble opinion, you're a chump and you lack courage. But number two, you're going to be in the tiny minority of all borrowers. So which brings me to the next question. Ann Cooper says, Ann Cooper has two questions, especially when the price of food and shelter keeps going up and up, makes payments even more impossible. That's right. Good point. The inflation that we've seen since pre-COVID has added something like $500 a month onto the average household. Well, the average student loan borrowing household was only saving $400 a month from the repayment pause. So inflation ate up all of the savings that they realized and then some. So, they can try and turn this lending system back on and it's going to be like click, 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 click. Ain't going to happen. Student loans are one big national joke, guys. But, this could have a very good ending where we see a clean, quick death to this lending scam and everybody can get on with their lives. And by the way, the taxpayers will be breaking about even. Or we may see a very terrible, years or decades long dystopian unwinding where the administrative state and all of their crony contractors do everything they can to make our lives fucking miserable, pardon my French, for the next 2, 3, 5, 10 years. I want that first thing, guys. I'm 53 years old now. I've spent my almost entire adult life under the screw of these scam loans. I'm ready to be done. Are you not ready to be done? I'm ready to be done. So Anne, I see, also had a question that I'm going to dial in right now. Anne is asking, wow, we have quite a few people here. Oh, Leslie's with us tonight. Jackie's with us. Joanna, Evie. So Vanjie says, I heard turning on payments is a part of our hateful POTUS deal with McCarthy. I don't understand. First of all, it's kind of bullshit because they were going to turn the loans back on anyways, subsequent to the Supreme Court ruling or earlier. So we were looking at loan repayment getting turned back on November 1st in the first place. So if the Republicans want to, and by the way, we're a fiercely nonpartisan group. We can't stand either party, but I have to say the Republicans, they are doubling down on stupid. And if they want to claim credit for turning on the loan repayments, and take the credit away from the Democrats or whatever, well, it's their funeral. 20% of the Republican base have student loans. Half of all student loan, more than half of all student loan borrowers are either Republican or independent. Millions of people with student loans went to trade schools and vocational colleges, welding school, truck driving school, you name it. 40% of all student loan borrowers never graduated. So this is the Republican base. And it just defies rationality to try and understand why the Republicans are trying so hard to stab student loan borrowers in the eyeball. It's the most moronic. Can I say retarded? I don't know, but it's definitely the most idiotic political calculus that I can even think of. There are 38 million people in the country losing sleep over their student loans. Most of them are Republican or independent. I kid you not. It's true. There's probably 45 million people in the country who are losing sleep over their student loans. If you include private student loans, these people vote, and they're not in love. We are certainly not in love with Democrats. Ann Cooper says, stick a fork in those loans. They are toast. Yes, that's exactly right. In fact, I made a meme of that exactly. The lending system is finished, ladies and gentlemen. And no matter what the people in Washington, D.C. do or don't do, the lending system is done by all rational metrics. It's done. But for the lack of courage and the corruption in Washington, D.C. in and around Congress, and that's on both sides of the aisle, by the way, these loans would have been canceled years or even decades ago. So yeah, and this also answers Ann's question as well. The Republicans just baffle me. But here's the thing. Let me bring this all full circle to the final point of the night. Guys, we've got to get our bankruptcy rights back. We're going to see this political hot football, this political hot potato be thrown back and forth again and again and again forever, as long as we don't have our bankruptcy rights returned. You know, if bankruptcy rights had been returned to student loans in, say, 2005, when we first started this group, these loans would be done. I mean, we'd be gone. There would be no student debt crisis. There would be no fight for student loan justice. The loans would be taken care of. And who knows if they'd even exist anymore. I don't know. But the point is, guys, bankruptcy is the solution to this problem, no matter what you want to see with your loans. If you want your loans canceled, you've got to get bankruptcy rights back. If you want to make it through some fucking lame income-driven repayment program, got to get our bankruptcy leverage back. If you want your loans canceled, got to get our bankruptcy rights back. It all starts with bankruptcy, guys. You know, it's the core of this entire problem, as unpleasant as bankruptcy is. I get it. Nobody wants to file. Very few people, in fact, maybe even no one, will actually have to file when we get the right returned. And we were close last session, by the way. We had a great bill in the Senate, S-2598. It returned bankruptcy rights, not perfect, but it returned pretty good bankruptcy rights as they exist for all other loans. Student loans, there was a little nominal clawback in the bill to make put the colleges on the hook, at least to some extent. Probably would have never been enforced, but we were close. We were very close. And at the very last minute, the Democrats betrayed us. So as I said, we're officially a nonpartisan group, guys. We can't stand either party at this point. It's like the enemy and the frenemy. It's like, you know, who do you like least? The guy who stabs you in the eyeball or the guy who stabs you in the back and pretends to be your friend? So, but that's just true, guys. There's no party for student loan borrowers. Both parties, the uniparty, the administrative state, they are both against us. And I'm not even going to say which one's worse. You can make your own decision on that. But, you know, guys, and maybe this is the most important political point that I have to make tonight. You know, guys, think about this. We just got through 2 years with Donald Trump, first 2 years in office. He had control of the Senate and the House. It was a trifecta for the Republicans. We also just got done with 2 years of Joe Biden having the trifecta, having the presidency, the Democrats having the presidency, the Senate, and the House. Now, did the world end with the Republicans on guard with student loans? Like, did our lives become a living hell with Republicans? No. The Republicans were terrible. Don't get me wrong. They were just fucking disgusting. But did they make the problem any worse? Not really. I mean, and similarly, Joe Biden, just coming off of 2 years, full control of the House and Senate. Did the Democrats solve this problem? Fuck no, they didn't. Pardon my French. No, they didn't. At the very last minute, they threw out a fake, feckless, designed to fail loan cancellation gimmick, and then they pretended to return bankruptcy to the loans with this new bankruptcy process, which is not new. It's just a scam for the bankruptcy lawyers to con people into paying them thousands of dollars to do an adversarial proceeding. That's a longer conversation, but so the Republicans didn't do really anything one way or the other when they had the run of the House and the Senate and the presidency. Similarly, the Democrats didn't really do anything when they had the run of the House and the Senate and the presidency. I don't listen to rhetoric, guys. I look at what the parties do, what they don't do. So that's pretty much what the worst that we can expect is what we've already seen, the worst or the best. And that's nothing. So my whole point in saying this is, does it really matter whether the Republicans are in charge or the Democrats are in charge? On the student loan issue, it pretty much doesn't matter, guys. You know, the rhetoric is different with both parties. That's true, but both parties screw us. And the proof is in the pudding now. And I hope that you people have opened your eyes to that fact. We're a fiercely nonpartisan group, guys. No matter what your political stripes are, you're very welcome here. We have, as a group, we could only support third-party candidates like the Green Party in previous elections, going back to, I think, 2012. We just simply couldn't endorse the Republicans or the Democrats because they're both terrible. So don't feel bad about voting third party. Don't feel, and this is an evolution in my own personal thinking, don't feel bad about not voting. I mean, I think not voting is a very legitimate exercise. That's a very legitimate expression. But don't let yourselves be held hostage by these D's or these R's or whichever side you're afraid of or whatever. Just don't do it, guys. It's just stupid. It's the uniparty, guys. It's the administrative state. Leslie Fishman says nothing will come of this. You're right, Leslie. You know, I can answer almost every question put to me in recent years about student loans with 3 words. It's all bullshit. I'm sorry, but it is. Like every time I see a politician get up and say anything, I'm like, that's just complete bullshit. It's completely unbelievable garbage. Both parties have eviscerated any trust that we may have had in them. And that was not much even before this past congressional session. But, you know, this past congressional session really exposed the Democrats for their true colors. The Republicans hate us. We already know that. Don't even worry about that. The Democrats betrayed us. They had a great bill. They could have passed. It would have passed with Republican votes. S-2598 and the House bill, it would have passed with Republican support. And they chose at the 12th hour to abandon and betray us. That's just true, guys. If you're a Democrat, I'm very sorry to break that news to you, but it's true. And I hope that most of you people are starting to get a little wise to the fact that it's a uniparty thing, guys. So, all fake, fake, fake. That's right, Leslie. So I've said a lot tonight. I probably went on quite a bit longer than I was really planning on. We're heading towards a half an hour here, but Evie Porter says, I got an email from Aid Vantage last night about my student loans. Really strange. Who in the world is Aid Vantage? Oh, Evie Porter, Aid Vantage is the collection / servicing arm of a large conglomerate out of Texas who have somehow managed to weasel their way in to, it's called Maximus, by the way. You can look at it. You can see the company for yourself. All they do is government contracting. It looks to me like new company Maximus is taking over servicing for a ton of federal student loans. Dirty insider Washington, D.C. company. They've got a very checkered past in other markets. I haven't seen them do a whole lot one way or the other on student loans, but I can guarantee you it's going to be a nightmare. You know, at what point is something just so messy? All that you can do is just throw it away, shut the door, and lock the key. That's kind of where we're at with student loans, guys. The thing is falling apart in slow motion, albeit, but the student loan program is disintegrating before our very eyes. and they can slap more layers of software onto it, and they can roll out any number of new and improved income-driven repayment programs and throw it into the alphabet soup of already existing income-driven repayment programs. It's all bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. Fake. So anyways, I try and have a sense of humor about this whole thing, guys. I've spent so many years of my life living and breathing this stuff. It's just, at this point, it's just silly season. It's just silly season. So like I said, this can have a good ending, and it should. This can have a very bad ending too, guys, because there's some very dangerous sociopathic administrative state minions out there who would like nothing more than to fund their retirement through scraping unearned wealth out of your ass. That's what the student loan thing does. That's what it was designed to do. It wasn't designed to help the citizens get educated. It was built as a big piñata for a huge network of greedy, I would say sociopathic people in Washington, D.C. who want to make free money off of our ass. Exactly what John Adams was afraid of. So don't trip, guys. I would tell everybody, bulletproof yourself. You know, there's other groups out there. They're calling for a mass default, and all of a sudden they go suspiciously silent when it comes to fighting for bankruptcy rights being returned. This is exactly what the student loan collection industry, the student debt collection industry, wants. That's their golden unicorn. And their wildest fantasy is about to come true. So when I say that we need to fight, I'm not fucking around. I'm not lying to you. This could get very, very, very ugly come November 1st or whenever they turn the loans back on. If we don't have our bankruptcy rights back, it will be like sheep to a slaughter. And I would say to everyone out there, no matter which way it goes, you should probably bulletproof yourself and become a wolf. And more than anything, you should fight like you've never fought before, either with us or not with us. I don't care. You need to fight for the return of constitutional bankruptcy rights to these loans. Nothing else is meaningful beyond that. Until that happens, nothing else you could do is meaningful. And that's just true. So, okay, guys, I'll be back tomorrow, Monday. We've got a lot of work to do. Do our daily actions. Maybe the last thing that I'll say, a lot of mosquitoes out here in Wisconsin tonight. Last thing I'll say, we're going to need 100 people to donate $10 this week. So that's $1,000 that we need to raise this month for our this week for our weekly expenses. Last I checked, I think 7 or 8 people had done it since yesterday. So actually, we only need like 93, and this is a lot of money. Normally, our weekly expenses are much less than this, but it's kind of a big week for us. So we actually only need like 93 or 4 people to donate $10. And I hope you can appreciate that the only place we get money from is these little tiny donations from normal people. We don't do deals with bad guys. We're not doing multi-million-dollar contracts with the collection industry. We're not trying to sell your house down the river, sell you into bondage through loan consolidation, loan rehabilitation, which is hugely damaging. Don't ever rehabilitate your loans. Don't do it. It's a fucking scam, and the people getting you to do it are making massive amounts of money off of your ass. Don't do it. We will have nothing to do with any of that bullshit that the other groups have been completely corrupted by. And I hope you can appreciate that fact. So yeah, if you could donate, please do it. I suck at fundraising. Make it easier on us, please, so I can shut up about it. Okay, guys, so I'll be back tomorrow. Good luck. Do our daily actions. Please donate. Fill out that survey. Most important thing, fill out that survey in the comments below. So good luck. Godspeed. Happy Memorial Day. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless everyone.